Hey, good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday. I almost forgot what day it was. It is Tuesday, the 20th of February, and this is your Breakfast Burrito on your sports network. My name is DJ Yoakley. My partner, Tommy Pease, has the morning off, had some things to tend to, and it doesn't look like we're going to be able to get Squeaky Bandito. So I apologize to all the fans out there that was really looking forward to Squeaky this morning. We're having some technical difficulties on his end, but hopefully we'll have him on some point this week, maybe even on Free Agent Friday. So you guys are just going to have to put up with me this morning. We've got a lot of things to talk about, probably an abbreviated show because I don't want to have you guys put up with my voice for too long, especially if you're going to be listening tonight to the YSNLive.com broadcast of the Columbiana versus West Branch game. That one has all the tangibles to be a big one. Columbiana sending out their seniors the right way, they hope. Coach Johnson and the crew over there having senior night for the three seniors, so it'll be exciting. Make sure you join us a little bit prior to 7 o'clock over there from the Clipper Dome. So we got a lot of stuff to go at today here on the Breakfast Burrito, and so far, not a whole lot of local stuff going on. We're in that weird kind of period between the end of the regular season in basketball, the beginning of the postseason, and then baseball is just kind of standing there with its hands on its hips saying, hey, it's almost our time. So everybody's getting stretched out for some hardball and for some softball. The track athletes and the field athletes are getting ready to do what they do so well every spring into the summer, and we're going to have some great action for you on YSN Live this spring and summer. That is for sure. A couple great things to talk about. If you are just catching up this morning and you have not checked out our media page, we had a big announcement yesterday. We will be partnering with Quaker City Wrestling, that is the professional wrestling, to essentially, bring you some more high flying action here on YSN Live. Talked with some of the guys yesterday. The co-owner Andrew, we've been talking for a long time. This is a long time coming. We're excited to bring it to you, and everything starts on March 10th. So we're going to talk to some of the wrestlers here on the Breakfast Burrito, and some of the guys that are going to be involved in that from behind the scenes to right there out on the mat. So we're excited to bring that to you here on your sports network, and we're hoping you're excited as well because it's going to be some good stuff, and they do some great stuff over at QCW. For some great causes. So want to make sure we bring that to you. But to today's first take, it is the rundown. So the first thing we wanted to talk about today is going to be the Pittsburgh Penguins. And man alive, if you thought they were dead in the water, you thought they were tired, look out, because here comes Sidney Crosby and the boys of summer back at it. And the funny thing is everybody's had their doubts when we lost Fleury, when you're making some harsh reality movements. Jim Rutherford is, and they thought the Pens were coming back down to earth, back down to reality, and the actual reality is that the Penguins are just that good. They're just that good, and what it boils down to, if you're not an NHL fan, is the Pittsburgh Penguins are. And I hate to even say this. This is almost this I should probably be banned from liking Pittsburgh sports for the rest of my life. But the Pittsburgh Penguins are building a dynasty, much like the New England Patriots, and that's just cut and dry. Sidney Crosby is one of the most polarizing athletes in the NHL. If he's not on your team, you hate him. If you're a Penguins fan, you love him. It's that simple. And much like somebody over on the New England Patriots, in Tom Brady. So think about that, Penguins fans. And most likely, if you're a Penguins fan, you're probably a Steelers fan. Would you like Tom Brady? Would you support Tom Brady if he was wearing black and gold? Would you support Sidney Crosby if he was not in a Pittsburgh Penguins uniform day in and day out? Think about that for a minute. That's one of those things that, as fans, we sit there and we joust back and forth. But Sidney Crosby is essentially Tom Brady on skates. And I think that's really the only matchup across professional sports that you can make a direct correlation. Crosby's getting cups. Brady's getting championships. He's getting Lombardis. Where does that? I mean, that's and Crosby can probably pull another one off this year, maybe even next year. You imagine if the and I almost said Steelers. Remember, can you imagine if the Penguins win 4 cups back to back? I know I'm getting ahead of myself. They haven't won 3 yet, but can you imagine if the Penguins could win 4 cups back to back? Three-peat is so difficult to do. A back-to-back is so difficult to do. Winning 1 Stanley Cup is so incredibly difficult to do, but the Penguins have an opportunity to do something special. And as of today, February 20th, 2018, the Penguins are sitting in the driver's seat. Nobody wants to play the Pittsburgh Penguins. So the question becomes, can they turn it on at the right time? And my answer is yes. Anytime the Penguins turn it on, it is the right time. Because guess what? These guys are pros. These guys are veterans. And bringing in whoever to replace whoever, as long as it's not 87, 71, or 81, sounds like another team. Sounds a whole lot like the New England Patriots. And as bad as they can be at times, the Patriots, and everybody hates them and everybody wants to see them go down, reality is this. As long as you don't replace 12, 87, I think that's really it. Because, I mean, we saw this year, you can replace Julian Edelman. Now, they didn't bring home the trophy, but Danny Amendola stepped up. It's the same thing on the Penguins. We thought that it was over because, we traded away Fleury. Hey, you got Matt Murray, Tristan Jarry right there waiting in the wings. It's not over, Pens fans. It's not even close to over, if you ask me. I think we could be looking at something very special. And with the ratings in the NHL going up and the ratings in the NFL going down, hopefully the NHL can learn from the NFL the things that went wrong. That's the first take. That's my take. Penguins being able to turn it up at the right time, that's going to be huge. I think they can do it. Absolutely think they can do it, and I think they will do it. I think they're going to shock a lot of people, and people are going to hate Pittsburgh hockey, but what's new, right? Around here, there's a saying that goes, you're either a Browns fan or anybody that plays the Steelers. And if you're that fan, I want to fight you. I would love, not really fight you. I'd like to have a debate with you. Maybe have coffee. Too old to fight. Too old to fight. Everybody, it's one of those things where, 21 years old, you'll fight. You'll fight over this stuff. Now I just want to have a discussion. Maybe have you on the show. Talk about why you hate a team so much that you root for 30 other teams to beat them. And that's cool. That's cool. If that's your personality, if that's your persona, good. I do not want to get on your bad side. I don't want you to hate me. All right. That is it for the first take. How about the speed bag? Today, speed bag, the Americans in the Olympics are on their lowest medal count in 20 years. That's the pace they're on at the Winter Olympics. Is this cause for concern? First off, are you even watching the Olympics? Do you care how many medals the Americans rack up? I do. I mean, I'm not watching intently. I'm not turning off the podcast and rushing over and joining Mike Tirico in progress. But what I can tell you is I care that we're winning. I care that we're losing, I guess, is a better frame of mind. I care that anything that, we put the Old Glory into and our athletes into, I want us to win. That's a natural competitor coming out and saying, hey, I want to win. And I'm sure these athletes want to win. But I also think that there's not much emphasis behind it because I'm not sure America cares right now. I mean, we talked yesterday about the juicing incident in curling. We got a good chuckle out of that one, as did the rest of the world, I think. I saw it on Jimmy Fallon last night. So it's the Olympics are, to me, it's turning into a little bit of a joke. And I say that with all due respect. It's turning into something that people can watch that gets them through the lull of the NFL ending and spring training beginning without having to say the NBA. You know, this has been a long stretch, and to start a talk show, a sports talk show in this stretch, probably not my greatest accomplishment. Probably not my smartest move that I've ever had. But hey, you're talking to the guy that started a network based on high schools in the summer when I thought I could get a hold of teachers and superintendents and people that work at the school. Yeah, that was probably my top 10 too. So for me, folks, it doesn't really boil down to anything, but the Americans just don't care anymore. They just don't care. It's not exciting for them. I will say this. My wife had figure skating on the other night, and it got exciting. It got intense with Nathan Chen. Yes, I know his name. I'm not even reading off a cue card. Nathan Chen bringing it, man. That cat was spinning himself into that ice like I've never seen before. I can't even – I think they called it a quad or something like that. He did 6 of them during his little program, and hats off to you, Tommy. Maybe I got to grow a man bun now. But that's – to me, it was impressive, and much more impressive than watching the Lindsey Vonn go downhill on a bunch of snow. I mean, I respect skiing. My mother was a skier. I like water skiing. I prefer water skiing, but not a whole lot to it. You know what I mean? It was my favorite one, and I don't even know what this is called, but they ski down a hill and they have this jump, and they just, I mean, they've got to be sky high doing tricks, not the long jump or whatever they call it, where they go down and they just face forward, their helmet to their skis, so to speak. But it's, I mean, they're doing like huge, like 900s and things like that, stuff that you see kind of in the X Games, but there's a little bit of dignity to it, I think, a little bit of professionalism to it that should be in the Olympics. I mean, you're going for a gold medal. The X Games is one thing, the Olympics completely different. And I think we're seeing a fine line in the Olympics that there's, I guess, a blurred line in the Olympics that the X Games is rolling over into the Olympics, and that's just not cool with me. That's not. I'm a bobsled guy. I enjoy watching bobsled. I enjoy watching the luge. I enjoy watching those sports, and not that the other sports don't take talent and skill. It's just not me. It's not me. And you could be completely the opposite, and I'm sure you are, because most people are. But I will tell you this: the Americans just don't care. If you ask them how many medals at the water cooler this morning, ask someone around you how many medals America has right now in the Olympics. Ask them. Pure and simple, just say, hey, quick question for you. I was thinking, do you know, or do you happen to know how many medals America has? Side question, who's on top? Who has the most medals? I don't know. I have no idea. If I didn't Google it right now, I would have no clue. Absolutely no clue as to who or what team is winning the Olympics, for lack of better terms. So yeah, for me, that's the speed bag. Americans on pace for the lowest medal count in 20 years. Is this for a cause for concern? I don't think so. I think it's been a concern for a while that people not really into the Winter Olympics. I mean, when you look back, I think one of the most popular ones, was probably when Tanya and Nancy Kerrigan were going at it. And that was because it was a WWE style, and there was lead pipes involved and a whole bunch of drama surrounding figure skating. And it was, I remember as a little kid, it was awesome. It was cool. It was like, you know, an extra pay-per-view for, well, at that time it was the WWF, but man, very cool stuff. And really not so much anymore. But it could be the fact that it's a 24-hour news cycle, just like everything else. It gets kind of watered down over the day, and people can, I guess, I don't know if this is taking back what I'm thinking about, but if you're listening right now, let me ask you this. We're going to talk about social media. Is technology making things easier to just look and see what the medal count is? Is it easier to see the highlights of what you want to see without having to watch the entire Olympics or that particular program in its entirety? Yeah, it is. And that could be one of the reasons why the ratings are down. NBC is terrified. They paid a lot of good money to have these Olympics. A lot of marketing dollars around the Olympics. A lot of people to send the Olympics. A lot of technology, a lot of equipment. And I can bet you that at the end of this thing, the ratings are not going to be anywhere near what they thought they were going to be. And, I mean, we still have a few days to go. So it'll be interesting to see if they kick it up a notch. I personally a little PO'd that they're taking some of their best shows off the network and filling it in with the Olympics. I think you can put the Olympics around these shows. Jimmy Fallon every night. This Is Us. Chicago Fire. I mean, you talk about some of these shows that people are just obsessed with, and you're pulling off your you're like the Pirates. You're selling off your best players for a couple of stand-ins. And I know it's just a couple of weeks, but you never know. People get attached to their shows, and they get pretty upset. So that is the speed bag. Americans on pace for lowest medal count in 20 years. Is it a cause for concern? Not to me. I don't care. I want to win, but man, it doesn't even seem real. It doesn't even seem like it's something we're interested in. So if we're not all in on it, doesn't really matter in my eyes. Doesn't really matter. Let everybody else have a chance, because we know when the Summer Olympics comes, we just blow everybody out of the water. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. America takes the Summer Olympics. That's our stomping ground. And that is the speed bag. Now on to the heavy bag, y'all. This is the one we wanted to talk about for a while. We missed a chance to talk about it yesterday with Tommy. I was hoping to get kind of some multi-angles. We might revisit this one. But I want to get your thoughts on this. Social media in sports. What is the effect that it has on society? What is the effect it has on our kids? What is the effect it has on student athletes? What is the effect that it has on you? And you can get to us by going to ysnlive.com and hitting the contact button. Also, going to our social media sites on Facebook, on Twitter. And if you can get to us on our broken Instagram account, I'd appreciate it, because I have no idea how to get back in there. And anybody with some technical prowess would be much appreciated if you can help me get back in that. Because even though I'm not a big Instagrammer, I know all of you guys are. So if you can figure out how to do that, God bless you. So, social media in sports, and it comes on the heels. This is not why we were talking about this, but it does come on the heels of LeBron James having an interesting week. One day you're battling and jousting a national talk show host. The next day you're winning the All-Star Game Most Valuable Player. Shut up and dribble, they say. It's all you need to do. Shut up and dribble. And we talked about it 2 weeks ago, about athletes and politics. I'm not a huge fan of it. I said, and I will say to this day that now I love my brother-in-law, but I said it way before he dated my sister, and I am a huge Ben Roethlisberger fan, but in no shape or form would I ever endorse him dating my sister. I love Ben, love him as a quarterback. My favorite football player of all time, Ben Roethlisberger. But I love him because he can do so much on the football field. You ain't dating my sister, brother. Not that you want to, not that you have to, but that's just how it goes. Like, we have such a hard time in society in separating, kind of compartmentalizing things. We give athletes this godlike figure and podium and platform that influences our buying decisions, our morality. And social media is a big part of that. Social media is a big part of everything nowadays. Social media is how we get our news. Social media is how we get our opinions across. Social media is how we build our self-esteem in some cases by counting likes, comments, and shares. Social media is destroying essentially everything that we're trying to, the old days we're trying to build up. So it's going to be interesting to see how social media in sports evolves, because at the end of the day, it boils down to guys like LeBron, people calling out, shut up and dribble, doing that kind of thing. But LeBron's got every right to cast his opinion, just as you and I. We started a talk show, for crying out loud, in the morning here on the Breakfast Burrito. You're getting our opinions. We're getting your opinions. Holy cow, did I see? Could it be the Squeaky Bandito is in the house?
Yes, he is.
Oh, baby. Ladies and gentlemen, he has arrived. The technical difficulties are pushed to the side. Let me give him the proper introduction he deserves. Ladies and gentlemen, live from East Liverpool, Ohio, he is the all-time leading guest on the Breakfast Burrito. He is Eric McMahon. He is the Squeaky Bandito. Welcome, my friend.
¿Dónde está el pollo loco?
No habla inglés. So I was just going on a tangent here on our social media in sports segment, the heavy bag, talking about the whole LeBron James situation, him going on social media, how social media has changed our way of thinking in America. I don't know how much you caught, but Bandito, what's your take? You see it everywhere. You see these athletes saying whatever they want to say, raising the standard or lowering the standard in some cases on your thoughts of them on the court and off the court. How does it affect you? I mean, does it affect your opinion of these guys?
No, it really doesn't affect my opinion of these guys. It really doesn't. I listened to a radio show yesterday morning. I listened to the Pat McAfee radio show, and he said something on there because they had an incident within their company where they had to fire somebody this weekend. And he started talking about when he was playing for the Colts that Bruce Arians always had a comment for him that it always stuck with him to everything that he's ever done. And the comment was simply this: remember what you are worth.
That's good.
Remember what you are worth.
That's good.
So LeBron can go off and say every social issue that he wants on Twitter and the media or whatever. He's going to pretty much say whatever he wants, but I guarantee the 12th guy on his bench, he says that stuff, he's gone.
So it's basically boils down to who you are in society dictates what you can say and what you can't, what you can get away with.
Yes.
Interesting.
Like he's gonna get away with the things that name me like a controversial guy, like a Richie Incognito. He's gonna be able to say the things that he can't.
if LeBron James comes out and says, I can say this because people care what I think, my comments are worth more than the average Joe, does that strike you as kind of arrogant, kind of cocky?
Well, it's before our time, but what was the most messed up thing you ever heard anybody say? I am the greatest.
Yeah, but that's, I mean, here's the thing. Muhammad Ali was a shtick, and he was an entertainer before entertaining was cool, right?
Yeah, but nobody ever said anything like that before. He said he was the greatest. He called the shots of what he was going to do.
Dude, the trailblazer.
Yeah, now allegedly Babe Ruth called a shot too, but there were no footage in the 30s, so we don't know that.
Yeah, it's interesting, and it would have been really cool. I mean, obviously, if we had social media back in Babe Ruth's day, I can only imagine the stuff that would come out of his Twitter account. I mean, that it'd be mostly, he'd mostly have the platform to like hot dogs and beer and a good adult beverage, and he, things of that nature. But nowadays people are following, and here's the trend: people follow LeBron James, but they also follow what LeBron James follows. If LeBron James likes your Instagram photo, or Kevin Durant retweets you on Twitter, you're going to get massive amounts of follows, massive amounts of attention, and essentially you become an extension of them.
I think we're digging into a much deeper issue than what you're talking about here. I really do. I think we're digging into a much deeper issue. I think we're digging in the issue to where, as you said, you go on Instagram, you like these pictures, all these people like you, and everybody follows you all of a sudden. That's all a result of our education and no culture. Because our culture in this country, the only thing that we contribute as Americans is, what does everybody want to be? Everybody wants to be famous in some sort of way.
Yep.
Everybody wants to be famous. When you go into schools now, nobody's taught how to free think anymore.
No, I'm with you.
Schools are set up to get through this grade, you got to pass this test.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it boils down to, and not in the schools. I'm no way pointing this the finger at the schools. But what I think it's society as a whole. I think it's, if you're not popular, you're not anything. And I think the popularity goes back to way back when. Our whole presidential election system is based on popularity. And that's part of society. But the biggest part of society is that communication, technology's changed everything. But communication is so much faster. And social media, to me, in sports, has changed the landscape of social media, because they're the guys that embrace it. Because most times, they're the guys that have the most time on their hands. And I know people are going to say, oh, no, he's at the gym, 4 hours a day before he gets. What do you think he's doing?
He's got a cell phone.
That's it. When the shoot-arounds, they're in the locker room until an hour before the game. They go out there and they start, popping J's. They come back in to get themselves ready for a game. What do you think they got in their hand?
Their cell phone.
Cell phone. Yeah, laptops. You name it. It's interesting to see, because everything is a big deal on social media. Everything's a big deal. Even the smallest deals are big deals because they affect somebody's world. Once there was a day where you and my opinions would not matter to anybody. And I just had a literally 25 minutes ago, I had to hold myself back from posting something on social media, because you have to think of the ripple effect. Well, what if this person thinks, and that's free thinking. That's cause and effect. That's okay. Yeah. Is it worth posting something? Not that I'm a big deal, but I have a little bit of influence now, and you have to respect that. And I have to respect that, because if I post something and somebody doesn't like it, there's consequence. And the big thing for me is in social media, when somebody says, if somebody provokes, like LeBron, I feel was provoked when they said shut up and dribble, then yeah, you can absolutely retaliate, rebut, whatever, however you want to put it. But for me, it boils down to how he reacts is a ripple effect on how kids will react in the future. So if somebody says, you know, just shut up and read, or just shut up and do this, you know, not that shut up's a good word, but like that's essentially what he was told. He stood up and he said, I'm much more than a basketball player. I'm a thinker. I do this. I'm a brand. I do $41 million to send, you know, kids to school. And it's just like, okay, I'm not putting him on a pedestal by any means, but I think he did it right. And not that he needs to draw any more attention to it than what happened, because the media had a field day, as you know. But this is going to sound, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? So yes. LeBron's not going to turn down an opportunity to have the limelight. That'll never happen.
No, when is he ever?
He won't. He just will never. It doesn't matter if it's good, bad, and different. LeBron James carries the limelight like no other.
Okay, so for the most part, let's go on the fact that he's done the right thing. Now, there's a couple times he's done the wrong thing. We're not going to go into that.
I can't think of one single time that he's ever done the wrong thing on national television.
The decision.
Oh man, but he's learned. He's grown, and it kind of gets us back to where we're at. But
him doing it on TV was the wrong thing. Now what happened? What he got from that was not the wrong thing.
That was the right thing.
Because he donated it back to charity every ounce of money he got from that.
Yep.
He didn't profit from that.
Nope.
But he probably shouldn't have done that on TV. He probably should have given the heads up. That's what he was going to do before he did it.
But nowadays, he could do it on social media.
He did. When he went back to Cleveland, he did.
Yep.
Well, we did it Sports Illustrated, what was online. He
did
it online.
But I think he learned his lesson the first time. I think that's what you're getting at.
Yeah, now you got him who may have done the wrong thing a couple times. I'm sure he has. I mean, nobody's perfect. You get him, and you get a guy like LeVar Ball, who does nothing but say the wrong thing, and people still follow him. Is that because people like to follow train wrecks?
I think they just want to see the next thing that's going to come out of his mouth. It's almost one of those things like a Kardashian, and that's society now. It's, you know, I think you're onto something. I think that people like watching what is the next fire that he's going to start. And I want to be the first to know about it, because I want to be the guy at the water cooler that says, hey, did you hear about this? Did you hear about that?
Stay in your lane.
Yep. But like, back to social media and sports and how it affects society, what it means for the kids. Let's think about this. If your favorite athlete gets away with something, the chances that student athlete, the chances that athlete in general, if they have a Twitter account, a social media account, they're either going to like it, retweet it, share it. They are going to extend that ripple. Not only are they going to do that on social media, but they're going to replicate that in real life. So as they grow, let's say that they're the best player on their team, they're the must-see athlete, they're going to feel that their influence carries a little bit stronger. So they're going to start going out and saying things out of the realm that they probably should. And sometimes it can get you in trouble, because being a professional athlete is a little bit different than being the best pitcher on your baseball team, your high school baseball team. And I think we're seeing some kids step out of their comfort zone, feeling like they're a little too big for their britches, get on social media, say things that don't necessarily need to be said, that not only hurts them, hurts their family, hurts their district, hurts their high school, and hurts their chances. So we live in a copycat society, up and down. But reality is we need to be careful, and we need to be mindful as parents, as uncles and aunts, as teachers, as peers, of what people are putting out there. Because social media is it's not only the future, it's here. But it's only going to get worse moving forward. And when you look at kids posting on social media, they don't have necessarily the moral code, the moral compass that some of us represent as we get older, knowing the difference between right and wrong, knowing the difference between funny and hurtful. And for kids to have that out there, it's dangerous. It's dangerous.
I think it is. I shudder to think what would happen if there had been social media 20 years ago when I was in high school.
Terrifying.
I'm terrified. Some of the stuff that we did. Jesus, some of the stuff that we did. I mean, that's what I tell these kids. That's what I tell these kids nowadays. Everything you do, there is a carbon footprint on every single thing you do because of social media.
Oh yeah.
You by the trains?
Can you hear him?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That's I live by the trains. That's funny. You can hear that.
Yeah, there's a carbon footprint on everything. Now, you mentioned how all these student athletes or students or teenagers or college kids, they're all online now. Social media definitely influences what they do because it does. There's no way around that. What do you think would have happened 15 years ago had Facebook been around, had Twitter been around, had MySpace been around, when Allen Iverson was in the prime of his career?
Well, yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, here's the bigger thing. I think, Squeaks, is let's talk about this. I mean, you alluded to it. You kind of tap danced on it a little bit. There's a carbon footprint every time you have a keystroke. Every time you press a button on your phone and hit send. Just because you delete it,
it's not gone.
Doesn't go away. Where do you think that goes? You know what I mean? Like, our emails are, I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist, but there's no possible way that our emails, even when you delete it, are gone forever. Somebody's got those emails. It's digitally captured somewhere along the line.
No, if you have a computer and you do something on your computer and you decide to delete it, it's not gone. It's on your hard drive. It's magnetically on your hard drive. That's the truth.
And as it transfers over to, like, so let's say it was an email, as it transfers over to another person's email inbox, let's say you have Gmail or Yahoo, you can't tell me that there's not a carbon copy somewhere else just for evidence. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where, and that's why I always think before I post, and not saying that I'm better than anybody, but I've learned my lesson. When you put something out there, you can't take it back. And 50 years from now, our kids, our grandkids, will be able to read the dumb stuff that we posted that we thought was pertinent at the time. Oh. And what's even worse is some of the things that these student athletes in high school, in middle school, in college, some of the stuff that professional athletes are posting are going to be seen, will be brought to the surface, if not now, later. And social media, I always tell people this. Now, because we do basically the better part of 70% of our stuff is social media, right? We have ysnlive.com, but we have everything connected through our Facebook page, through YouTube, through our Twitter page, through our broken ass Instagram account. Thanks a lot, Instagram. But the thing is you can use social media as a tool or it can make you look like a tool. And that's the difference, is you have the power, you have the ability to use it for good, and it's got the ability to make you look like a complete ass and no questions asked. And it can do it with the snap of a finger. So for you and I to sit here and say, okay, social media is dangerous. It is, but it can also be a great thing. It's just I mean, the big thing's gun control right now. I mean, it's the same concept. It can save you, it can help you, or it can kill you.
I watched a lot of kids get recruited based on social media and everything that's gone on to go to the next level and play college athletics. I watched a lot of kids get recruited. I've also seen a lot of kids not get recruited because of it.
Do you have any just examples off the top of your head of people that have lost something?
No names or whatever, but what'll happen is the assistant coaches and the recruiting coordinators at colleges will go online and check everything these guys do. And if there's anything they deem to be controversial, if they've offered a scholarship to them, they will pull it, and they will flat out say why they pulled it. I'm not going to say names of places.
No, you don't need to. Yeah. But you're saying that social media has caused harm.
People to lose their scholarships. Yes.
Yeah. That's incredible. I've never heard of anything, well, outside of the one that I was reading about on Coach's Tribune, where essentially a kid was taking inappropriate pictures. He was a standout quarterback for his team, and he lost all interest from all the teams that were looking into him because he got in. I don't know if he got expelled from school or if he got, I know he got disciplined in some fashion, but he posted it to social media, and there was a lot of trouble over it. And we're seeing a lot of social media keyboard warriors, dive into things that they don't really know about, especially lately here, locally. There's always going to be keyboard warriors, but people want to cast their opinion when reality is, and I think I'm not telling you anything new, our opinion doesn't matter. No. Our voice, these programs, these organizations that start this, that stir it, the media, the only reason that they do some of this stuff is to have relevance. You're making them relevant by commenting, liking, sharing, retweeting, all this stuff. You're making them more relevant than they need to be. And we have captured that as, okay, some of us are 24-hour news up. I mean, some of the things that I see my family post sometimes, I'm just like, I sit there and I go, wow, does that really need to be posted? Like, a lot of it's political, a lot of it's, very much into, religion. It's based off of the news. And when we sit there and we just poke the bear, nothing good can ever happen when you're sitting there and you're trying to have an opinion and force it down somebody else's throat. Now, if you want to have a discussion, that's different. But a lot of these people don't want to have open discussion. They want you to eat their opinion, and you're going to like it.
But in this society, is there a difference
between
a discussion and forcing an opinion down somebody's throat? Is there a difference?
Do you think social media has killed the opportunity to see the other side?
I think technology's killed a lot of things. Actually, I think the main thing that the main thing that it's done is I think it's killed people's interpersonal skills. Who sits there and has a conversation with anyone? Who writes a letter anymore?
Good point.
Who calls somebody on the phone and talks to them?
I'll call you, Squeaky.
I know. My generation would, but I'm just saying, the generation that you see now, are they going to call somebody or are they going to text somebody? There's no interpersonal on that. So if you say something joking or whatever, you don't know if they're joking or not. You don't know that. It's a different dynamic, and I don't know. It's just, things are just different.
So overall, would you say that social media has, because I think it's done some good. I think it's brought us closer together, but I think that it also has made everybody more divisive, not only in the country, in the world, with, being able to cast your opinion, being able to say what's at the top, on the top of your mind, at the tip of your tongue, at whatever cost that you feel. I mean, people don't care. They don't care.
I think it's good on the fact that whenever, like you said, people are divisive or whatever, it's done a lot of good to link people up to people who think just like them.
That's true. Hashtag, that's what it's all about. When you think of what a hashtag is, it basically is a group that wants to talk about a certain subject. So hashtag YSN, hashtag greatness plays here. Now, just because we do something, just because I do hashtag YSN, doesn't mean that I'm going to get all the followers of your sports network. It might be your service network. It might be, but it might be a ton of things. But the idea is that we love when people say we're right. We love when people say, man, that was a great thought. The problem is we no longer have the social skills to rebut without going to, well, I hate you, and you're stupid, and this, just casting out judgment on others that have different points of view. And the thing is, in sports, you've got to have agility. You have to be able to audible. You have to be able to think and ad lib in the majority of sports. Now, your playbook only goes so far. What happens whenever you're D'd up on a full court press and it's not working? You got to be able to ad lib. You got to be able to audible out of that and think freely. And social media is making us drones. It's making us copycats. Retweeting is just saying, basically, this is what I was thinking, but I don't have the words to put it in, put it out there myself. That's what retweeting is. That's what sharing is. This is being said better than anything I can say. We got a lot to say. You and I can sit there here and talk about it all day. Social media has almost molded us into being somebody that we're not, making us think we're somebody that we're not, more important than we are, more or less important than we are. Social media can also be a tool used for bullying, but it can also be a tool used for self-help. I firmly believe, that's why if you follow me on Facebook, my personal page, it's notoriously filled with quotes, positive quotes, inspirational quotes, because I think that interjecting and putting some positive into somebody's life as they scroll down a timeline, their own timeline, and they see something that might be able to give them a little bit of excitement is a good thing. Because in a world that we live in, it's all bad news, man. It's all bad news. And these kids, they replicate and they duplicate and they try to do everything that they see around them because it's what makes them cool. And social media has only magnified that.
You were talking about LeBron James earlier and how people were going at him about the shut up and dribble thing and everything he does on social media and everything else. Let me ask you this. During the playoffs, what does LeBron do on social media?
Shuts it off.
Does nothing. I think that's the best lesson to all. He knows when to shut it off.
Well, I think he knows when it's going to affect him.
Yes.
And I think that's a great point, Squeaks, is we don't know when to stop. We don't know when it's a buffet society, right? It's at our fingertips. We just don't know when the last plate is, at the Chinese buffet. We don't know when to shut off the egg roll machine and say, you know what? That's it for me. Maybe I should, sit this one out. I'm tapping out. But guys like him that have to protect the brand, they do. Kids, 18-year-olds, 17-year-olds, 7-year-olds don't know when to turn it off. They don't know when enough is enough. That is a great point, my friend.
Yeah.
Imagine you stretching. What are you doing over there?
Nothing. I'm just sitting here.
Imagine going into state high school playoffs for football. All eyes on you. You're the starting quarterback. And your girlfriend breaks up with you. Head cheerleader breaks up with you. And you start a Twitter war. And then it escalates. You start calling names back and forth. You got to get that last word in. You're a competitor, right? Your natural state is a competitor. So you guys start going back and forth. I don't care if it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever. Somebody catches it. A coach, a parent, start pushing you as a bully because you're not allowed to say these things to daddy's little girl, or she's not allowed to say things to you. You lose your scholarship over it. You spend the whole rest of your life blaming that person that you lose your scholarship over. But it was you, sticks and stones, right? At the end of the day. But you can retract words that aren't on paper. Even if they're on paper, you can burn it. You can't burn digital. Once it's out there, like we said, it's out there. It can ruin everything that you've built off, on the field, but by a few moments off the field. I mean, they talk about, here's my comparison. I always tell people when they talk about social media. We have commercials, we have branding, we have marketing based around drinking and driving, texting and driving, how it can change your life forever. Social media is the same way. It's the same way. It can change your life forever with one slip, one stroke of the key. It's up to us. It's up to parents, peers, like I said before. It's up to all of us to make sure that we're holding people accountable for what they do on social media. Holding athletes, holding these movie stars, rock stars, whoever, accountable for what they're doing on social media and the message they're sending to student athletes, to just students in general, to kids. We have to hold them accountable, and we do not do that nearly enough. Not nearly enough.
No.
People think it's cool when, there's a Twitter war. We think it's cool to call people out, but then in the same breath, we're talking about bullying. There's never a good bully, but man, people love to see a good fight. So, last thoughts on social media?
I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head. There you go. Retweet.
Nice. Very good, my friend. Hey, thanks for stopping by. We had a bunch of people that were clamoring for you today, man. And I was bummed when we couldn't get you on from the start of the show, but keep your Friday open if it's available. We'll bring you back on.
I'll keep it open. And my final note of the day, just know that if you watch the Winter Olympics or whatever, and you have an Olympic dream, all you have to do is go through your heritage and find out where you came from, get citizenship and relatively novice expertise at the sport, and you too can be an Olympian.
Are you going to be an Olympian for a certain?
No. I'm not the girl that did the freestyle skiing for Hungary. No. I'm not that, but that's what I'm getting at, because that's making news, because not only did she know what she was doing, she was dead last. So that also got American citizen that participated for Hungary.
Hey man, she's still an Olympic athlete.
She's still an Olympic athlete.
Nobody will ever be able to take that from her.
No, she's still an Olympic athlete.
Hashtag Olympic athlete.
Retweet.
Squeaks, the Squeaky Bandito, everybody. Thank you so much, Eric, for joining us, and we'll see you on Friday.
Yeah, I'll see you Friday.
All right, brother. That's a wrap on the Breakfast Burrito. For my absent partner, Mr. Tommy Pease, for that Squeaky Bandito, I am DJ Yoakley. So long, everybody. We'll see you on Wednesday. Have a great day.